everybody. Welcome to another sensational session of Strike a Chord Live podcast with my dear brother, Colin Harbor. He's right there in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. I'm Marcus Ellis. I'm here in Pensacola, Florida. Colin, why don't you tell him who we are?
We are two lifelong friends with a love of baseball, music, motivation, and inspiration mixed with a little bit of nostalgia, culture, transformation, and fun. And we want you to take the journey with us.
This is Strike a Chord Live podcast. I don't know, man. That never gets old for me. I love that. I love that intro. That's fun.
I do too, but I almost always start to say it. You know?
Well, it's okay because, the Beatles, they invented this thing, double tracking. I don't know if they invented it, but, if Paul sang a vocal and he wasn't really happy with it, George Martin will go, well, just sing it again on another track and we'll double it up and cover up the mistakes. So if you double track the intro, I think that's okay.
That's okay. Whatever that means. I'm going to have to trust you when you talk about that kind of stuff because I don't know.
Well, man, it's the day after Valentine's Day. Did you and Gina do anything special for Valentine's Day, or was it just another day?
So we actually, happy Valentine's Day after everybody. So yes, I made reservations like 6 weeks ago at a restaurant called Texas.
Wow.
It's Texas, but it's a nice steakhouse. It's where we went to one of my daughter's birthdays last summer, and we wanted to go. And I was like, we're experiencing things in 2023. And we're going to go back to this restaurant. We're going to eat there. So I made these reservations 6 weeks in advance. And then yesterday, I don't know how I ended up on their website. I made the reservation through Open Table, but when I went to their website, I noticed special menu. I was like, uh-oh. I've got an 11-year-old and a teenager, special menu. So I went, and I didn't even think about the fact that it would be a preset menu with nothing that any of us wanted on it. So I got mad and we ended up just going to a Mexican food restaurant right around the corner.
You can't beat Mexican. I mean, I would take that all day. But
yeah, no, definitely. Hey, and every now and then your voice is changing just a little bit. I wanted to give you a heads up because we were talking about that earlier. So I don't know if there's anything that can be done about that, but I'm just letting you know. I don't want you to say, Colin, why didn't you tell me? What about y'all? Did y'all do anything?
Yeah, we did. Laura and other White Tie family, Jonathan, Virginia, actually played at the yacht club. And so I went with them and hung out with a bunch of nice people. And we had an incredible dinner there. And I listened to some really good classical musicians, which is my wife and my band members, our family band. And it was great, man. I had a great time, saw a bunch of great people. I see Nat Banks here. Nat Banks is equipping you for greatness. I love you, man. He's about to pop onto his podcast. But I would like to tell all the commenters here, there's a bunch of people that I see that says Facebook users. Peggy Gossman, we love you. We can see you. So you have to opt in to StreamYard to be able to, for us to see the comments. But we see you guys there. We love you. We appreciate you. But yeah, let's talk about leaving a mark on the planet, leaving an impression on the planet. And first of all, I'll just ask you, love you, Nat. Thanks, bro. Have a great show. I need to talk to you about something, Nat, too, something simple, but let's talk. Is it important to you, Colin? I mean, as you go out into the world, are you like, I need to make a good impression on my kids, on people. I need to leave a good mark. I need to make a positive impact on this world. Is that something you think about or you just naturally do?
It's something I think about, and it's something I think about more now than say 20 years ago. I don't know. Maybe
I agree.
When I was right out of college, I thought about it a lot, and then it was more what's in it for me. And then, now the older I get, people we know, I guess all of our lives, people we know are dying, but people our age die, right?
I was going to say that. Keep going. Yeah.
People our age die and start dying. So we really start to think about what are we leaving with our kids? I mean, we also have this weird, not we, but this, we had this pandemic, right? Where, a lot of people sat around. We couldn't do as much. A lot of people couldn't go to church as much. There was online church. There was,
right.
We couldn't go we couldn't go to feed my starving children. We couldn't do these things that we normally were doing. And then we broke habits, right? And then we
Yeah.
got lazy. And so really, I mentioned earlier that, our 2023, I was, for my family, I really want us to have more experiences, but it's the same thing about, recalibrate. That was one of my words when we went over our words in the first week of this year, is recalibrate on things. And one of them is service. One of them, I hadn't really thought about it, but one of them is leaving your mark. Yes.
No, I love that, because I was thinking about that too. As you and I advance, we're a long way from when we used to hang out in the 80s. That life is fleeting. We do know people that are crossing the rainbow bridge, if you will. And I believe that one of the reasons we're here is to create life, to create experiences for people. And so if you're walking around and creating negative experiences, and once again, we've talked about that exponential, explosion of what you leave behind, and that can be positive or negative, right? So I know that you and I, our target, if you will, is to make a positive impression on people, to let them know they're loved, to let them know they're seen and heard, and make an impact. And I love that you use the word service. To be of service to people is very important to me.
Yeah, no doubt. And hey, by the way, I know I mentioned it to you, but leaving an impact on the world is important too, according to Chat GPT.
Yeah, tell me about it.
So for anybody, so Mark knows this, Marcus knows this. I've become fascinated with the AI, with the artificial intelligence, and so I'm sure most of you have heard about Chat GPT or OpenAI. It's an artificial intelligence, right? So you log in and you ask it questions, it gives you answers, or I use it on colinharbor.com to provide me with outlines for my blog. But so I asked it today, I said, should we be worried about what kind of impression mark we're leaving on the world? Question mark. And it said, well, yes, it is important to be mindful of the impression we leave on the world, as our actions have a direct impact on the people and environment around us. The world is interconnected, and our actions can have a ripple effect, influencing the lives of others as well as the planet as a whole. Leaving a positive impression on the world involves being responsible and considerate in our actions and striving to make a positive impact on the people and the environment around us. This can include being kind to others, volunteering, taking steps to reduce our carbon footprint, and promoting social and environmental justice. Now, I know some of that sounds like the robot, sounds like the AI is getting a little bit, left leaning, as they would say, maybe a little bit more on the political left spec. No, I'm just kidding. But that's what AI gave me. That's what artificial intelligence gave me this morning when I asked the question.
What I love about that is that, we're as smart as artificial intelligence, because that's pretty much what we're saying.
And it makes you wonder, are podcasters even necessary moving forward if we've got artificial intelligence? That's kind of the big thing now. If you go out to YouTube or wherever you consume your content, everybody's talking about, well, all the jobs in the world are going to be lost to artificial intelligence. They don't need customer service reps. They don't need this. They don't need this. They don't. And I'm wondering if podcasters are on the list. I don't know.
Well, it's funny, and I know we're getting a little bit off topic, but we're not. Let's keep talking about this. I saw Gary Vaynerchuk, talking to people, and he was talking about AI, and he said, "Is AI going to change the way people work?" Yes. And he said, "I was saying a long time ago when I can't remember what it was, but he's talking about the Yellow Pages when something came out. I don't think it was the cell phone or something, but he was saying, I was telling Yellow Page salesmen, like, you're going to need to find another line of work because of the way the technology is advancing." So with this artificial intelligence, to where a computer can think a little bit for you, and it's a scary thing because we've all seen Terminator, right? We've all gone down that. But I really love the fact that you asked it a question that said exactly what we're talking about, because to leave a mark, to leave an impression on the planet, it's not about getting credit or recognition. It's not for yourself. It's for the other person. So we have to make sure that the things we do leave a positive impact rather than a negative one. And of course, that starts with you, me, our heads, our hearts. The way we when we walk out the door, the plan for the day is that I'm going to make somebody's life better. I'm going to walk up to somebody random and tell them I love them. I had a nice conversation with a lady at a park that my daughter was playing at yesterday, and she was a little older than I was, and she just loved it, right? And said, I just wish more people would be this way. And so as we look at the things, if we watch the news, which I really try hard not to, but of course I was watching it this morning, it can really get you down, and you can think that everything's going, I'm just going to say it, going to hell in a handbasket, but it's really not. It's our perception of our environment around us and how we react to that and how we treat other people.
Yeah. And I know you're trying to keep us on topic, but I got one more thing to say about.
It doesn't matter.
No, I'm just kidding. I just wanted to see you. I just wanted to see you go, dang it, Colin. I'm trying to get us focused on the topic. But I will tell you this, artificial intelligence, they say, will primarily replace the internet. Right now, that's why these companies, that's why Microsoft just invested $10 billion in it. That's why Google has their own form that they'll be rolling out. But it's because if you go out now and you say, should we make a lasting impact on the world on a Google search, you'll get thousands of articles about why we should do it. So if you want to go out and read different articles and all that kind of stuff, it's good for that. But if you just want a definitive answer, or what you consider, now it's the robot, a definitive answer, you ask that, and instead of thousands of websites to go to look at, it just gave me an answer, and it literally gave me the answer within about 20 seconds. All the stuff starts typing on your screen, and you have your answer. So
now when you talk about it, now I'm thinking about 2001. I can't do
exactly
that.
How the Space Odyssey,
Dave. I can't open the door for you, Dave.
Yeah. What do we do when the robots, like, what do we do if the robots or the artificial intelligence thinks we should improve our carbon footprint, but I want to open my door, which is controlled by robots, artificial intelligence, to go get in my Tahoe?
Right.
Open my door. Huh? What are we going to do, everybody? Everybody needs to think about that. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about leaving a lasting impact, making a lasting impact. And, I know we've got some comments coming in. Hopefully we can see who they are.
Well, I can see Julio Soto's here. I love you, Julio. He's all the way down there in Puerto Rico. Love you, bro. Good to see you. Another thing that reminds me of is WALL-E. Remember WALL-E? And the spaceship takes over and is fighting. Did you ever watch that movie? The Disney movie WALL-E, the robot movie?
I think so.
Yeah.
So is that the one-eyed robot that can, like? No, that's something
else. No. But anyways, but the spaceship takes over and is trying to defeat the humans, but I digress. So we have Ryan Little says, this is cool. He says, good morning. Not sure if my name comes across or not. It doesn't, Ryan. You have to do the little dance. I'll help you with that. He said, I invited over 100 people to check out this podcast. Hope we see some new faces. Have a great day, everyone. That right there, that effort of Ryan inviting 100 people to this podcast is leaving a positive impact on the world, because we're promoting positivity. That's what we do. It's what you and I like. So simple actions like that of just saying, hey, have you read this? Have you looked at this? Have you read your Bible today? Have you, opened the Bible app and read a verse? Or have you, read a positive article about how you can, change the world, or things like that? So I really love I can't imagine the internet being replaced. That just blows my mind. But Bruce Pulver, our dear brother, just wrote Helen A. Handbasket. She's always so negative. Don't be
Helen. Exactly. Hey, Bruce, thanks for joining. And someone also said AI is nice, but it's missing the heart of God, which is true.
Well, true.
It's still artificial. It's in the name, artificial intelligence. Yeah. It's not purporting to be Einstein. But there is this database. But I think back to what you were saying is it's mindset, right? And we've talked endlessly about mindset and about successful mindset, about Bruce has his mindset messages with his acrostics, and we talk about mindset. And I'm finding that that's one of the things that I'm trying to instill in my children more than anything is, I mentioned a couple weeks ago, my daughter wrecked her car, which is still under repair. It was kind of a nasty, she wasn't hurt, but the car itself looked really bad, bad. But
Sure.
so she's had to drive my old car, which a lot of teenagers have to drive old cars. So I don't care. I'm not crying about it, but she's kind of moping around, sad, and oh, well, the air doesn't work in your car. Yeah, well, it's cold outside. You don't need the air. Turn the heat on. Turn the seat heater. But anyway, but I've told her, you make a decision today. Gina, my wife, has told her, you make a decision right now how your day is gonna go. Period. Regardless of the car, because for teenagers, cars are pretty important.
They are important, and you bring up a good point, though. It's, what type of impression are we leaving on our children or our grandchildren, by reacting to a certain situation? Yesterday, man, this person on Scenic Highway just flew up behind me. I mean, almost as if I had pulled out in front of them and I didn't, and they were honking their horn and flashing their lights. And I started to, that blood pressure started to raise. I did stick my
Mark's
hand.
gonna roll up on him, baby.
I did stick my hand out the window and went 45. Speed limit's 45. But then I thought, my daughter's in the back seat, and I wasn't angry. I didn't scream. I just did a 45 out the window, right? 4-5. And this person, and I kind of peeled off a little bit on Scenic Highway, and they went around me honking, flicking me off, going 80 miles an hour. And my daughter was oblivious. She didn't even know there was a problem. But had I gone MFRU, race behind them to catch them, I'll tell you what, I'll be straight up. Old Mark would have caught that person and then been at the light and said, how far did this get you? But I didn't, right? Because we want to make a positive impact on our kids and other people. And then I don't know what that person was going through. Maybe they couldn't have been going to the hospital because they weren't going the right way, but there could have been an emergency. You never know, so go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'll jump in.
It's just how we react to certain situations, right? Determines the impact you leave on another individual. That person left a negative. My heart rate went up. I got upset on the inside. It was unnecessary. I don't know what was going on. I think the lady was just in a hurry. Maybe she was late for work. I got a pro tip: leave earlier. It's just those types of things.
Here we go. He's not going to let it go, ladies and gentlemen.
No, I'm proud of myself for not going nuts.
So when I talked about leaving an impact on the world earlier, I specifically was talking about my children, because I think COVID did me in, the pandemic, and I didn't throw in the towel or anything, but just kind of like was blah. And now that 2023 is here, I consider us post-pandemic now, hopefully, right?
Right.
But you talked about, you could have said, blankety blankety blank. I think that's one thing that is different now. I mean, I think adults have always cussed, but it seems, because I've seen it in my neighborhood, and I've seen, like, parents cuss around kids a lot more now, right? And I think it's just because everybody's so stressed, and they're like, well, they're going to see it on TV, or they're going to see it on this or this anyway. So this is not horrible cussing, but like yesterday. So last week, my daughter and wife were at CC's, and I guess they came in and they were like, there's gunshots outside. Everybody needs to go to the back of the CC's and all this kind of stuff. So my youngest daughter freaked out. CC's used to be her favorite place. Nothing ever happened. Nothing ever. And Gina, like my wife says, that may have just been somebody pulling a prank for all we know. Now Lily, like, we're not going to go. So last night we were talking about, I gave you the story about the restaurant, the reservation and the fixed menu and all that. And I was like, well, we're going to go somewhere else instead tonight. And she goes, well, it sure as hell isn't going to be CC's, because I'm never stepping foot in that place again. My 11-year-old, well, sure as hell not going to be CC's. I was like,
yeah. Real quick, I want to acknowledge somebody. Angela Beller's here. I love you dearly, Angela. I hope you had a great time in Costa Rica with Tamara and crew. That's great. But yeah, man, cussing in front of your kids is unacceptable. I mean, now I'll take that. But I mean, you and I was telling the nice lady that I was speaking to in the park yesterday, I was telling her that the way you and I were coached in playing baseball is now illegal today. It's not legal. I mean, we were jerked up by our necks. I mean, I can remember my dad when you and I were playing, and we were joking, but we were having a scrimmage baseball game, and I slid into home. I remember it was at the airport where there's no more baseball fields, which is a travesty. But I got up arguing with my dad, and he just picked me up by the throat. You know, you can't do those things. And we were cussed at as kids and things like that. And I do think that made a negative impression on us. It was negative reinforcement, you know. However, the way we react, and let's take the kids out of the equation. Let's do a one-on-one an adult. You can ruin somebody's day, or you can make somebody's day with one or two words, right? And we have to be conscious of that, because I am guilty. Things would fly out of my mouth when I was younger. I mean, I can remember somebody that used to work for my grandparents said, "Boy, Mark sure is sweet, but he's got a big mouth." It's true, you know? And so things would fly out of my mouth that now I'm not proud of. And as we age, and I don't know what happens, you know, because I'm not slowing down. I was telling Laura, I'll get off topic for a second. I said, I still physically feel 27. I still can do the same things physically, ball-wise. Am I as fast? I don't know, but I can still play ball pretty good. I can still run. But there's definitely been a softening of the soul getting older, and that makes me be more conscious about how I speak to you, how I speak to Angela Beller, how I speak to people online and in person. And instead of getting upset that somebody messes up my drink, I just tell them that I love them, right? And when somebody's screaming at me, boy, talk about getting under somebody's skin. Okay, well, I still love you. Man, somebody will Tasmanian devil themselves into the ground, spinning themselves in the ground when you're killing them with kindness. So we just have to be conscious of the impact we're leaving on one person, because that ripple effect, you can ruin somebody's day, and then that person's going to go out and ruin 10 days, right? And those 10 people and it's exponential. Why not make it positive? Why not be conscious enough to be positive?
Yeah, I love the ripple, and I'm going to do a shameless plug. I told you and actually mentioned it to Bruce on text because he was a guest. You know, I was going to do a new podcast, Just Make Contact, but it just got too busy. What I've done actually is I've re-released or relaunched Harbor Time Strategy Talks. It's just going to be Harbor Time podcast, and the first episode is me and you when we did that pilot for Just Make Contact. I know nobody cares about any of that, but actually it was just released. Oh, it's going to be released in about 10 minutes. But
Sweet. Drop a link.
That was in part of that episode, I was listening to a little bit of it last night, was we were talking about how you tell people you love them, exactly what you're talking about right now. And we discussed the fact that you have no idea what kind of a day or a week or a month or a year that somebody has had, right? You have no idea what kind of experiences they're going through. And literally, you, Marcus, in these cases, you colloquially or just broadly, someone doing something positive or someone saying, hey, you know what? I love you. That could be the nicest thing that's happened to somebody in weeks.
Well, I mean, I've told you, people cry. It could be months or years.
I mean, I'll be quite frank with you. I'm not living a miserable life right now. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not sure anybody's done anything nice for me in weeks. And I'm like in the upper echelon of, I think, good things going on. If that makes sense. That doesn't really make sense. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I love you. Does that help?
Oh, thank you, Mark. But I mean, I don't consider myself downtrodden. I don't consider myself in an abusive relationship. I don't consider myself. My children are well today. My parents are both alive. Gina's parents are both alive. All these things, and I am not trying to jinx anything out there or whatever. My point is, I still don't know that anybody's come up to me and said, "Hey, man, good job, Colin, on such and such." Right?
Well, that's very important. You know, the pat on the back, or when we played baseball, I can remember in state tournament. Because I came like inches from hitting my second home run in the state tournament. And I remember Ronnie Hardy, God rest his soul, was on third base, and he tagged up and he scored. And I went up and high five. I was like, yeah. And I can remember Ryan Urbacher's dad, Dana Urbacher, who's no longer on the planet, saying after the game in a speech, he was like, I want to point out an example of what this guy did. He could have hit a second home run. And instead of being upset, he was happy we got the run. It's perception. It's that things are not so bad, that I didn't fail at not hitting the home run. I succeeded in getting the run across the plate, one, right? And it's our perception and how we react to things. So it's just vital when we're around people to open your heart, calm your head, right? And take a deep breath and think about how you can make a positive impression on somebody at that moment.
Yep, no doubt. And it is just positive. I think, when it's funny because when we use positive hashtags on
Right,
YouTube Shorts or
right.
on Instagram Reels or Instagram, do you know we get more likes
Of
when we
course.
say stuff like positive mindset or positivity or whatever, as well as some of the other hashtags that we throw in there. But there's always like it's fractional, but there's always more viewers. There's always more likes on those things, right?
Well, yeah, but
Maybe, I don't know. People want to hear positive messages.
right. Well, I mean, why would you want to be stressed? And Angela Beller, my dear sister, says, saying I love you, it triggers them back to themselves. What a gift I love you is. Not only that, not only is it just acknowledging somebody and learning their name. And I think that's very important, but you are giving them a piece of yourself. You're telling them I love you. And a lot of people go, oh, well, people throw that term love flippantly around. You Southerners, they all say I love you when they're walking out the door, all that kind of stuff. But I really think 90% of people mean it. It's not just a Southern habit to say love y'all when we're leaving, then we mean it. And it's important for us to spread that or to convey that emotion to somebody, to let them know that they're on the planet. So first of all, God loves them. And then it's our job, as God and Jesus tells us to tell people that we love them. And I'm going to say something controversial that I like to say. I think a lot of people have Bibles that only have black letters in them, because they miss out on the red letters of what Jesus says. And love is written in the Bible, depending on which version you have, from 400 to 700 times, depending on which one you have. And it's definitely not the most topic or term in there. But Jesus tells us to love one another as we love ourselves. So I guess the first thing is you have to love yourself. Do you love yourself?
I love myself.
Love
Self-love is
myself.
very important. Hey, do you watch have you seen on Amazon Prime The Chosen?
Oh, it's so good.
Is
Oh,
that
it's so
not good? Now, I get it. It's not the Bible. Don't get me wrong. It's still a production. It's still it's still
it's
interpretation. It's still all of that, but it gives such a different view of Jesus, or a real view of Jesus. And like, I think it was Rick Warren or somebody who said, and it's not corny. It's not a corny
no.
production. Oh, no, it was the pastor at the church we're going to. He's like, it's not a corny production. It's a good production. So if you want to see an interesting take on the life of Jesus, The Chosen on Amazon. But what I was going to say is, how he handles situations, how he handles love, how he handles showing people that he loves them. I think it's fascinating.
Well, it's a great point, because there are multiple scenes in there where the disciples want to go off the rails. They want to spit on
Oh,
the
they're people, right?
right.
Yeah, they want to fight. They want to, they're fishermen. They're different things like that. They want to go after people, and Jesus is like, let's
Chill out.
yeah, just chill out and let's do this. And by the way, I'm going to go pray for 3 hours, so y'all don't go do anything stupid when I go do that. Right?
Well, a fun fact is a buddy of mine, Matt Nelson from Pensacola. He's lived in Nashville for 20 years, but he's from Pensacola. He's done the music to The Chosen. So you see Matt Nelson on The Chosen. He's from Pensacola. Other fun fact: his mom is pastor at my church. His
Oh
mother is
wow.
associate pastor at my church.
Well, I would say this, and not we're not and we're not getting paid for this. If you are a Christian, I would go watch
It's not.
The Chosen. If you're not a Christian, I would go watch The Chosen. It's a good series, and it'll make you think. Hey, by the way, I know we're almost out of time, and we're talking about leaving a positive message on people. I did put it up here, youtube.com @StrikeAchord Podcast, which is our handle. I know we've got followers. We really want to build that channel up.
You
So
do.
if you know anybody, if you're still listening to this and you're on YouTube and not following us, go click on it, follow us. We would appreciate it, and share it with others. I don't know what you're laughing at.
No, I'm not laughing. I'm smiling because I'm thinking about what you're saying, because we can make a positive impact on the world by asking people to do that. Folks, you can make a positive impact on it. Not that Colin and I are so great, but I do feel like we are positive and we have a great message. You know, I mean, I am a lead. Did you know I'm a lead singer?
I know that you're a lead singer, man. I am well aware of that, and I love your stuff. I
Thanks.
do, man. Speaking of YouTube, I go watch White Tie Rock Ensemble YouTube stuff all the time. I mean, it is
Cool.
awesome. It is
Well,
great.
and this is cool. We're talking with Owa Amusement Park in Alabama. We're gonna have a residency there, so that's pretty cool. And I know we're over time, but
A residency, that is big time there. That's
yeah,
very musician like.
it is. We're gonna play from the summer all the way through the fall, a weekend a month. So I'm very excited about that. So we just want to let you know that you're seen, you're heard. Most importantly, you're loved. We appreciate you being here on Strike a Chord Live podcast. We're going to be back here Friday. We know we took a couple of times off. I will be straight up. I've been under the weather for about 2 weeks. I'm still trying to. That's why I've been over here pushing my mute button, because I got to cough. So we're sorry that we missed a couple. There was nothing. We were on the road. We had but we're back. We'll be back Friday with another exciting topic. We're going to have some exciting guests like Angela Beller. Angela Beller is going to be a guest on here. She's amazing. We need to talk to Angela about gut health. She is a master on gut health and how that affects you in your life. So we'll have her on there. You know, I've probably done a wrong thing, Colin, because I think I have a sinus infection, but I don't want to take antibiotics because I know what that does to your gut. But I think my wife is like, well, do you want to feel better, or do you want to deal with the gut health thing? So,
Well, I'm trying to eliminate a percentage of my gut right now. My gut got really big over the last 6 months, and I know why. It's because I quit walking and all that. But anyway, so we're done for today. Like Mark said, we'll be back Friday. And like I said, you can always catch us on YouTube. You can catch us on Facebook, and you can catch us on Instagram. We're out there.
Site.
What's that?
Let's put up the Beacons thing, because I know you have that on here.
Yes. And Beacons is a place that you can go. It's like a Linktree. Speaking of artificial intelligence, beacons.ai/strikeaccord.live.podcast, and you can get to all of our social channels from there. Now, the Beacons page itself needs a little work. We're getting there, but you can get to all of our social channels there.
And one last thing, my buddy Ryan Little's on here. He moved from Washington State to Pensacola this past summer. He has Little Family Landscaping. They're amazing. I've seen their work. Excuse me, I couldn't hit the mute button fast enough. So if you're in the Gulf Coast area in Pensacola, Cantonment, the beach, they go all over. Ryan Little and his wife and sons, Little Family Landscaping, I highly recommend them. That's our shameless plug for the day. Colin, this has been great, man. Love you. I'm jazzed up, man. I was feeling a little punky this morning, but now I feel great.
Good to go, man. Go make a positive impact on at least one person today.
Yeah, we would appreciate it. And then you can tell them that Colin and Mark sent you. All right. See you, bro. Have a good one.